Okay, so the next one, actually, I'm going to read the first paragraph of from the Zhou Hua book. But it's quite simple, as the first paragraph will say, and then we'll go into a little more detail, and I'll show you actually how to use it in the context of push hands and so on. So the seventh energy is Zhou, which is elbow. In the first paragraph, it says, Zhou is somewhat self-explanatory because it means using your elbow to attack or jostle your opponent. So when you practice, however, the posture should never be obvious to the observer. And I'll demonstrate how that is true. Zhou should be concealed so as to disguise your intention from your opponent. Keep the idea of the elbow attack present in your consciousness rather than in your form. Okay? And then just for the technical, that's the yin, broken line, over to yang, solid line, solid. So yin, yang, yang. The image represents a lake, one yin on top of two yangs. The soft yin rests on top and conceals the great force of the two hard yang beneath it. Okay? So there's a lot more information here, but let's be practical with it today. So, let's see, Mr. Big, please today. So, simply put, sometimes in the context of freestyle push hands, or actually this wouldn't be freestyle push hands because you can't elbow someone. Okay, that's an attack. So the context is like there's pressure, and you practice with me when I slip a hand under, and so you have that little trade-off, and that's when an elbow comes forward. Okay, or it can also be something that comes low. Okay, that's where it's concealed. So practically speaking, it could be that kind of thing where he might throw a punch or something, and my hand intercepts it, folds, and hits him. Okay, it's a concept not unique to Tai Chi. The first art I trained in was a martial art called Wing Chun, and so they have that idea where someone throws a punch, they have a center line, and they build up pressure, and then they release the pressure. Okay. So that's the idea of folding. But let's put it in the context of something, since we're not going to elbow each other today. Okay, at least most of us aren't. Okay. In the context of freestyle push hands, folding means when you feel pressure that you know that you don't have to go against the pressure, but you can use the pressure to pivot on or to change on. So you can do that at any point that you have contact with your partner. So that's how we'll practice it with partners today. Is that while we're doing freestyle push hands, I might be pushing him, he might be pushing him. Have you ever practiced with me and all of a sudden I have something else on you?
Yeah.
Like, well, wait a minute, where did he get that from? It's because I kept the pressure on the point that we were fighting against each other. I say, quote, fighting against each other. We're both being yang, and so I'll keep the yang there, but he'll still feel the yang, but I'll change it where somehow I got over it, and now I'm inside, and now I'm doing something else. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So everywhere, anywhere that could happen on any point on the body. So it's like a ratcheting, you could say, is that there's pressure on one, but then I put pressure on that one, and he comes there, and then as we ratchet back and forth, I've closed in on him, and I'm able to do that. Does that make sense a little bit? Okay, and then the posture. We don't do this form. But the form that we learned with Ori Solomon's, Master Solomon's, has this actually as one of the moves. Okay, so it has that grabbing, and then it has the breaking or the splitting, and then it has the elbowing, and then it has the shoulder. Okay, so it has that progression. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're not going to learn that, but that first drill, just play around with it a little bit. Remember, all of these 8 energies that we're covering that follow the I Ching, the 8 diagram with the yin yang in the center, all of them are just to get you thinking, right? When you first start practicing push hands, what happens? You're like, huh? Like, what am I supposed to do? He shoves me, I shove him. It looks tense. It looks like nothing real is happening. It looks like, well, if I'm going to wrestle, shouldn't I just do jiu-jitsu or something? It's like, yeah, or judo or something else that specializes in it. It's not about wrestling. It's its own art. It's its own sport. Okay? And in that context, you're thinking, well, what am I supposed to do here? I don't get it. Okay, I'm supposed to push him, and he's supposed to push me, and I'm not supposed to fall over. Yes, that's essentially what happens. Okay, but where does it get interesting? Where does it become a game like chess? that has strategy and setting up, thinking 3 moves ahead and so on, right? So you can do that sport aspect for us. And then the beautiful thing about freestyle push-hands is you don't have to retire at 25 or 35, that you can actually practice that your whole life, right? And actually, the older that you get, the better you can be at it, because you learn to master it without relying on your innate strength. You end up using your skill. Okay, so with the practice matures with you maturing. Does that make sense? Okay, so practice that drill that I just demonstrated. All right.